Well, hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. I'm Corny Swiss, and today I'm going to be driving out two machines. Going to be driving the King Tiger H in the first replay, and then the second replay I'm going to be driving around the Panzer II H. So we're doing some H variants today, and they're pretty opposite. You think about a King Tiger, fairly slow, large gun, sort of a juggernaut. Sort of engaging at range and really being a rock for communist forces to crash against. And then you have the Panzer II-H, which is basically a race car, zero armor, doesn't need it because it's so fast, and a very punchy, I say punchy, it's not punchy, a very annoying little gun. But in this first replay, it's not conquest, it's domination mode. And I decided to take the eastern spawn and come over here and harass the enemy as they try and cap their first point. I'm shooting at another H variant, and I went for my usual preferred method of knocking out an H is the turret. It's just shooting it square in the face of the turret. However, in this situation it was better to shoot the lower plate for sure. And that's actually how I'm going to end up knocking him out, is switching my fire from the face of the turret, which is difficult to hit at this range, and just shooting him in the lower plate and getting a little bit of RNG help from the spread of the shrapnel. But now we have a lot of tanks over here, and we're all sort of moving up to give the good news to our counterparts trying to hold the C zone, or B. Whichever one it is. It's B. And the Yak Panther got taken out by a teammate. And now there's another H variant off over there who could be a little bit of an issue. But the nice thing about the King Tigers is that their rate of fire is pretty good. The 88mm gun, even if it is smaller than a lot of Russian guns, still has plenty of punch and has great long-range performance. So I used to think that because the Russians had an 88mm gun, it was kind of a hamper at higher tiers, and that to some degree that might be true. However, this 88mm gun, I don't feel like that's necessarily the case. It's a very, very strong gun, and occasionally you can take a hit right in the face from an IS-2 and do just fine. Not often, but when they shoot your upper plate, not a lot's going to happen. But that's kind of the deal with this tank. The main weakness of the King Tiger is its lower plate, which is relatively easy to penetrate. And then the face of the turret, at least for Russian guns, and to some degree German guns as well. I haven't actually unlocked the APCR on my Tiger II-H yet, but I'm getting real close to it, and I might just grind this tank a little more just to get that XP, because I think the APCR will make a pretty significant difference when it comes to engaging machines like T-54s and things like that. But the King Tiger down the way is actually playing this really well. He's using a hold down position to try and wear me out, but at the same time I'm hold down as well, and I get a little lucky there. Hit the top of his tank and was able to penetrate the roof. That's not usually going to happen. But now the Tiger P there was in a decent spot, but he got hit from the side, which is going to cause problems. I was actually worried right here. I got lit up by this AAA, but the side armor is good enough that that wasn't much of an issue, and I quickly angled. But I don't think he actually could have damaged me anyway. Might have been able to at this range. But the way the battle's going, they are moving into C, we are moving into B, and eventually they're going to start capping A, which could be a little bit of an issue. And some teammate just got bombed, so that's a little unfortunate. Dodged that bullet. But this AAA gun comes out, and we give it the good news, because Honestly, and a lot of times, AAA guns can be really, really dangerous. They can damage components and things like that. And always shoot a ZSU really fast. Because in my opinion, the ZSU is the best of the AAA, just simply because it is that effective against tanks. However, is it OP? I don't know. It has more often than not. It has those. Well, here's a good example. In a T-54, you can get, you know, quite a few kills. It'll happen over a period of time, over the course of the whole game, but you can get quite a few kills. I think the difference between for example, the T-54 and the ZSU is that the ZSU can get its kills really quickly. However, when it takes one hit, a lot of times shit gets broken. And if you get disabled at all in that tank, you're basically dead. And also, I think it's very much so, if you shoot it in the right spot, it's done every single time. If you hit the gunner, he's toast. Because you've just taken away his only advantage in the fact that he can fire really fast. But is it overpowered? Maybe, but you know, it's similar to the T-54 in my opinion, in terms of power. But anyway, this isn't about the T-54 or the ZSU. I'm actually going to make kind of a critical mistake coming up. I'm going to cap the zone. I was worried about bombers. I leave the cap zone, go forward, and the 30 that I saw earlier, that I knew was there, punches my ticket from their spawn. A little unfortunate, but that's the way life goes sometimes. And here we are in the second replay. I'm driving around the Panzer IIH. This is a fun little tank. I'm working on coming up with a full sort of opinion about this tank. Haven't been able to play it a whole lot, but it is a fun little machine. It suffers from the idea of it having no armor. The armor isn't present. The gun is decent. It's a 50mm gun. At this tier, 50mm is fine. Has good penetration on both the AP and APCR. The only downside really is that the rate of fire is a little weak when you compare it to other 50mm guns. But I guess it makes up for that in the pure speed of the tank. I thought I was going to be in big trouble here. I see T-34s moving in, and their 76mm guns can really cause me issues. But I'm way, way faster than them, so I'm able to get here quickly, get into cover behind this rock, because this isn't a particularly big machine. And I'm kind of waiting for them. I have APCR loaded to guarantee a penetration. AP would probably do fine, but when I'm engaging targets and I need to be sure that my first shot disables or causes significant damage, I usually go for APCR just to be sure I can knock their gunner out or something like that. But I move forward into the cap because it's not apparent if they're actually coming here. They haven't come across the bridge yet, so it's not obvious that they are actually going to contest for the cap. They might be pinned down by friendlies elsewhere on the map, which is nice. That's always good to have. So I'm kind of just camping this corner. The second they come around, I'm ready to blast them and give them the good news, but I am worried about them coming up around the side of me, so I keep sort of checking over there to make sure that I don't get flanked and surprised, because this thing doesn't deal with surprises very well, that's for sure. You need to engage the enemy in like a almost prepared, always be in a prepared position, so that you can guarantee the first shot, because their first shot is likely to cause you some issues. Now that T-54 got a little unlucky because right before I took the shot, he basically poked his nose down, which unangled the front of his tank, and the T-34's armor is entirely based on angling. So, you know, that didn't do anything for him at that point. At that point, the angling is what hurt him. Get to sneak up on this T-28. I was pretty convinced he was going to just knock me out, but someone else finishes him off, which is really nice. But now we've capped, obviously, because I did it. And we're sort of beginning to rout the enemy, which is always nice. And that's the advantage this tank sort of has. On cap maps, you can really just push the issue by getting into the cap really, really fast and putting the enemy completely on the attack. Really, I was going to say defensive, but realistically what they have to do then is press the cap, which is difficult in War Thunder because of how easy it is to one-shot your opponent. If you can set up a defensive firing line, which is fairly easy to do, because if you give someone a target to shoot, they will sit there and shoot it all day long, and that's perfectly fine, especially in a defensive situation, because that's what you want to do. But when you put a team in a position where they have to be offensive and they have to rush forward and they have to be a little bold, you're not going to get that as much. So it's pretty important a lot of times to put the enemy in a position where they have to be ultra aggressive. And I've come to realize when you're shooting a KV-1, shoot for the very back of the turret ring. That's a very effective place to knock him out if you have that shot. The engine block at the back is just weird. For some reason it's angled, it's weird, it's just not good. Now T50 was trying to give me the good news, but he gets hit up by someone else. And right here, I was actually kind of worried because this AAA starts lighting me up, and this thing doesn't have very much armor. It actually knocks out my gun because it damaged it and then I fired. So, gonna call a little arty on his position, but not really gonna matter because we're gonna win this game. I was able to rush forward, get in the cap, and put them in a position where they had to come to the cap, and they either couldn't, didn't, or failed, but ultimately failed to do so. So we won, which is always nice. So thanks for watching. I've been CornyBros, and I'll see you next time.